Elon Musk had 30 days to decide whether SpaceX would buy Cursor. But by the look of the deal timeline, he moved in what amounts to a weekend sprint. And that matters, because this may turn out to be one of the most important AI deals of the year. Not just because Cursor is one of the hottest coding startups in the world. Not just because the price tag was a staggering $60 billion in stock. But because this deal may say something much bigger about who controls the future of AI coding, who gets squeezed in the middle, and why companies like Anthropic may suddenly be under a lot more pressure than people realize. So in this video, I'm going to break down why Musk moved so fast, why Cursor was worth so much, why this is really an AI power play, and why the fallout could reshape enterprise coding over the next few years. Let's start with the facts. TechCrunch reported that SpaceX agreed to acquire Cursor for $60 billion in stock, only days after SpaceX's blockbuster IPO and less than 2 months after the two companies had already announced a prior tie-up. The same report said SpaceX had structured an earlier April arrangement where it would either buy Cursor for $60 billion in stock or pay a $10 billion breakup fee if the deal fell apart. That one clause is a huge clue, because it suggests this was not a random post-IPO shopping spree. It suggests Cursor was already viewed as strategically important enough that SpaceX wanted to lock in a path to ownership ahead of time. And that is exactly why this story matters so much. The buried terms and the speed of the final decision reveal where the enterprise AI coding market may be heading next. At first glance, a rocket company buying a coding startup sounds bizarre. But Cursor is not just another editor with autocomplete. It sits inside one of the fastest-growing battlegrounds in AI, the race to own the interface where developers actually build software. TechCrunch notes that Cursor, founded as Enisphere in 2022, experienced a meteoric rise during the AI coding boom, and before the SpaceX deal, it had been on track for a funding round that could value it at $50 billion. That tells us something crucial. Cursor was not cheap because of hype alone. It was expensive because it had already become a strategic position in a market that bigger companies do not want to lose. And that is where the headline story becomes clear. This is not about buying a tool, it is about buying a choke point. If AI coding becomes one of the core ways enterprises build software, then the company that controls the workflow, the models, the compute relationship, and the developer surface gains a huge advantage. Now let's talk about the speed. The strongest hook in this story is that Musk appeared to have a broader decision window, but closed incredibly quickly. That is powerful YouTube material because speed usually signals one of two things, either panic or opportunity. And broader reporting suggests this was probably about both. TechCrunch reported that SpaceX's AI division had been struggling, that it had gone through restructuring, and that the company was pitching investors on a massive AI opportunity, including $22.7 trillion in enterprise applications and a broader AI market vision worth roughly $26 trillion inside its IPO narrative. In other words, SpaceX had made very large promises around AI. Cursor gave it something immediate, real, and commercially proven to attach to those promises. So if you ask why move fast, the answer may be simple. Once SpaceX had fresh IPO momentum, stronger stock currency, and a strategic asset already within reach, waiting may have made less sense than closing. The most important shift here is that this deal pushes the story out of startup land and into platform warfare. Coverage around the acquisition repeatedly frames it as a move to strengthen SpaceX against Anthropic and OpenAI in AI coding. That means the acquisition is not only about owning Cursor's growth. It is also about changing bargaining power. If one side controls more of the stack, distribution, compute, capital, and the coding interface itself, then rivals may find themselves fighting a different kind of battle. Not just model quality, but ecosystem lock-in. And for YouTube viewers, that is the key idea to understand. The AI coding war is increasingly becoming a war over who owns the environment in which developers work every day. So what did Musk actually buy? The obvious answer is Cursor the product. But the more important answer may be that SpaceX bought a fast-growing developer surface, a strong brand in AI coding, a direct position in enterprise software workflows, and potentially a better bridge between model capabilities and actual commercial use. That matters because winning in AI is not only about training the best model. It is about converting capability into habit. People do not live inside model benchmarks. They live inside products. So if this deal helps SpaceX move from raw AI ambition to daily developer usage, then Cursor may be worth far more strategically than it looks on paper. This could be one of the defining events for enterprise coding platforms over the next 3 years. That may sound dramatic, but there is a reasonable case for it. If SpaceX now uses Cursor as a core vehicle for its AI ambitions, then the next phase of competition may revolve around 3 questions. First, who controls the most valuable developer relationships? Second, who can combine model quality with the strongest workflow integration? Third, who can turn AI coding from an impressive demo into an enterprise default? And that is why the Anthropic angle matters so much. Even if Anthropic remains strong at the model layer, the market may increasingly reward companies that control more of the end-to-end experience. So what is the real takeaway here? Musk's move on Cursor looks less like a normal acquisition and more like a speed run to secure a strategic position in AI coding. The deeper logic of the deal matters more than the headline, and broader reporting supports the idea that Cursor is now central to a much larger AI push inside SpaceX. That means this story is not just about one startup cashing out. It is about whether the next phase of AI competition is decided not only by who builds the smartest models, but by who owns the products developers cannot stop using. And if that is true, then this was not just a $60 billion purchase. It was a declaration of war in AI coding. If you want, the next video in this series could go in one of 3 directions. What this means for Anthropic. Whether OpenAI should worry next. Or why AI coding tools are becoming the new operating systems of software. Comment which one you want next, and if you want more high-signal breakdowns of the AI power shifts that actually matter, subscribe.